Good morning, beautiful people. I'm here to remind you today that you are literally one move away of gaining the results, seeing the results, experiencing the results that matter more and most to you. Today, I want to dive into a podcast, a topic that was in my inbox. It was in my phone. It was very passionate. I was on a phone call with one of my clients, and I had this question be presented to me in such a way that I had to bring it into a podcast and I had to open that up. And that question was, Daniel, what do you do when the fear of failure continually paralyzes your dreams, right, to go after them? And we shared a lot of dialogue in that, and I'm going to share what I gave to this client and why that person has been doing, successfully. Why? Because in this, what we're doing is sharing the truth about the fear of failure. Today, I want to give you one thing, one truth right now, and you can write this down. Failure itself is not an enemy. Failure itself, I believe truly that failure is not the enemy that we're looking at when it comes to being the leader, living out a life of legacy and impact. And it's really the enemy of our ego. Because when we fail, our ego wants to give its criticism back to us. It wants to tell us that it was good, it was enough. Where feedback that forms you is truly what failure is. Failure is your capacity checked truthfully. Amen. Failure is not the enemy. It is the feedback that simply forms you. And if you have been like me and you believe the lie that the failure in your life, whatever failure that was a verdict, then you need to go back to the courts of heaven. You need to go back into the courts of your mind. You need to get back into the verdict and release yourself from those preconceived ideas and notions that if you mess up, it means something's wrong with you. So you hold back and you hesitate. Why? You tend to play it safe. Why? Because here's the truth. Failure isn't the thing stopping you. Fear is the thing that's stopping you. Fear that allows you to think that you lost credibility somewhere along the lines. Fear that it won't work up, or you won't work. Fear that your worth has been disqualified. Fear that your worth is now questionable, right? But hear this. Failure isn't disqualification. It's education. It shows you what needs to shift. It shows you where growth is necessary. Every successful leader, even myself, walking through this right now, content creator, builder, whatever, has a trail of failures behind them, but they kept going. Or they didn't. Why? Because they stopped attaching failure to identity. You are not your results, and you are not your mistakes. You're a builder in process. And the only thing that can disqualify you is quitting. Take it from me. If you took the last few years of my life, I could say that there was something that made me disqualify myself because of the fear of showing up and failing in front of masses of people. Use this as a lesson. Apply the insight. Take the hit and rise up anyway. That's how you're going to build an unshakable confidence. You don't have an unshakable confidence right now because you have a weak inner stance inside of you and you don't believe what you say. You say what you say and you want to believe what you say, but because there's a weak inner stance that you truly don't believe what you say, that's why you don't move when you say you are going to do something. You say you're going to do something, you show up and you do it. You don't care if you don't do it perfectly. You don't worry about what the next man or woman is going to think of you. You're more concerned about showing up because you said you were going to show up. Failure is not the enemy here. It's the feedback that is forming you. So if you don't like the feedback, change your outcome, change your output. What your outcomes are is because of what you're inputting, and your intentions are being driven there. Now, here's another truth that I want to give you. Fear of failure is just a fear of being seen without a mask. It's you being seen in an organic way that you are not okay with. Everybody can understand this in a way like you dress yourself to go to school and two different types of socks and you tie your shoes differently than everyone else and someone notices it and you feel undone, right? You did nothing wrong. A fear of being seen without your mask. See someone seeing you from a place where you didn't recognize you let your guard down. The voice in your head constantly saying to you, don't mess this up. It's not about the outcome. It's about the identity. What if I tried and I still failed? Okay. What if they think you're dumb because you tried anyways? What does that matter? What does that say about you? What don't you understand that when you use fear itself, you use fear to expose yourself and show yourself the shadows you. But here's what I want you to understand, that you already are carrying the weight of that fear daily if you don't deal with it. You're already feeling the same shame or the doubt or the pressure. And at least then you can recognize, right, that carrying this thing around all the time is actually a mask. At least then you can see where your energy goes. At least then you can see where your intentionality, where your loyalties are lying. You don't get confidence by avoiding failure. You get it by walking through it. You learn. When you learn to walk through it and you survive it, you discover that your worth was never tied to the outcome in the beginning. Let these people see the real you. The one that tries and risks and learns and gets back up, that version of you who builds something that actually lasts. It's going to come from a place of vulnerability. Let the mask down. Another truth or principle or factor or nature that you would want to hear is that your value is not on trial. Your calling has already been confirmed. We're not going to go into a hypely spiritual message here, but your calling has already been confirmed whether you picked it up or not. Your value here on earth is not on trial. One of the biggest lies that we buy into is if we fail, it means that we're not good enough. And honestly, that belief system does not just slow you down, it shuts you down. I mean, here's the truth. Your worth isn't tied to your wins. Your calling didn't begin when you get it right. It began when God formed you with purpose. Failure doesn't erase your assignment. It reveals where your growth is needed to sustain it. I'll say that one more time. Failure doesn't erase your assignment, right? Here we go. Alignment before assignment. Align. It reveals to what you need growth in so that you can be sustained. That's all. Failure doesn't erase the assignment. It reveals where your growth is, where it needs to be sustained, where your capacities will be checked. That's all. Your mandate is still intact. Your potential has not been revoked. The only thing standing in the way is the fear that says you have to prove something to be worthy. And you don't. You were chosen before you were even succeeded. Before you ever succeeded in anything else, you were already worth it, you were already chosen, and you were already valuable. The question now is, will you show up and own that? Or will you keep waiting until you feel worthy again? Because the truth is, your impact begins the moment you decide to stop hiding. So I want you to understand that the reason why failure or the fear of failure paralyzes your dreams lies in some case in one of three or all of these truths that I just gave you. Write them down, study them, go back and listen to them, and most importantly, share them with at least 3 people that you are growing with this year. Make 2026 the year where you truly shifted everything. Until next time, you're one move away. Take your move.